Hello everyone, King James III here, and today I am very excited for our second lesson because today we are going to play our first 5 notes. So before we go any further, I just want to say welcome back to our trumpet player friends who used to play and now you want to get back into playing the trumpet again and you're using this as an outlet. I just want to say welcome back. And I also want to say welcome to our brand new students of the trumpet. And I'm glad that you're here and using this as an outlet to help you learn how to play the trumpet. Also, to all of my friends who do not know how to read music, guess what? Today, you're in luck because from this day going forward, I am going to teach you how to read music while I'm teaching you how to play the trumpet. All right. So if you're ready, I'm ready. Okay. Go grab your trumpet and just grab some time and let's get this thing going because I'm very excited. Okay. So welcome. And I see you on the other side. Here we go. All right. So before we get into our first 5 notes, you first need to know what you are playing. All written music is done on staff lines. Okay, so here is a picture of a staff line, and here's also a picture of a treble clef. Now, the treble clef is also called a G clef. Why is it called a G clef? Because the belly of that clef, it actually curves right at the line of G on that staff line. That's why we call it the G clef. So now what we're going to look at is the type of note that we're going to be playing. The type of note that we're going to play is called a whole note. A whole note is a note that you can play and sustain for only 4 counts. In addition to the whole note, you have what we call a whole rest, where we are not playing for 4 counts. The easy part about reading music is that you only literally have seven notes to worry about. All right. So from A to G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. After G in music, there is no H. It goes back to A. That's the wonderful thing about reading music is that you only have 7 notes to worry about. The hardest part about reading music is the rhythm. Okay, I won't say the hardest, but probably the most challenging, sometimes the most difficult. Once you know what the note is and what octave is placed, now it's all about reading rhythm. In this particular case, we're only going to concentrate only on the whole note. Okay, so the first note that we're going to play on our trumpet is the G note as a whole note. Again, a whole note is a note that you sustain for 4 counts. So if this is the count, okay, you're going to sustain that note for 4 of those counts. G, G. Now, remember, we also have a whole rest. Okay, a whole rest also gets played like a note, but guess what? It's silent. Okay, so you also have to play the whole rest. So the whole rest, if you have a count like this, is silent. So here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's how rests are also being played. So if you put them both together, you will have a whole note that you sustain for 4 counts. You have a whole rest that you do not play for 4 counts. And we're going to repeat that, okay, like this. This is the count. And this is how you actually do it. Here we go. G, rest. G, rest. Let's play it on the trumpet. So if this is the tempo, okay, we're going to do the same thing. So we're going to have a whole note on the G line with what? A whole what? Rest. That's right. And we're going to do it twice. All right. So it'll sound like this. Here we go. 1, 2. So now that we actually have that example out the way, what we're going to do now is we're going to actually play some music. Okay, so check this out. If you look at number one has 2 whole notes back to back, followed by a whole rest. Another 2 whole notes on the G line, back to back, followed by another whole rest. The next one is going to be a whole note on the G line, followed by a whole rest, then another G line, whole note, and then followed by a whole rest and an ending. All right, so we're going to now play that example. So grab your trumpet and join me. Here we go. All right, I hope you enjoyed that segment. Trust me, there's a lot more to cover. But before I go any further, there's 2 things I just want to mention to you. And one is, if you need to repeat that segment all over again, just make sure you go to the timestamp on the description tab below this video and just click on the timestamp as shown and repeat that as much as you need to. The second thing I also want to say is that, and what I failed to actually mention, is before you start playing these examples, as a beginner, what happens is you do not have the muscle training to pretty much have you lock in on the note. So I always tell my students, before you start playing your note, make sure you try to lock it in first, okay? Because a lot of beginner sounds sound like this. That's how a lot of beginners sound. And why? Because you're so focused on the buzz to the point where you're not allowing the air or the buzz to actually flow, to clear up. And don't worry about it. I'm going to have another lesson about how to clear up your buzz so you don't hear buzz or hear sound. I'm going to have one a little bit later on. But for this particular lesson, all I want you to do is just concentrate solely on the note. So I will advise you to go back, repeat that previous section. Okay, so if you want to move forward, let's move forward to the next note. Here we go. The next note we're going to learn how to play is the note F. The note F looks just like this. Okay, as you can see, the note F is sitting on the first space of the 5-line 4-note staff, and the note F on the trumpet is only pressing the first valve down only. Here's a picture. That's pretty much it. Okay, so the only reason why I'm not using a chart is only because, being that there are only 3 valves on the trumpet, this is very elementary. I shouldn't have to use all of that. Now, if you do need further assistance, I would say download. You can go online, go on Google, whatever, and just find a fingering chart. Okay, usually the fingering charts have like these 3 dots and whatever notes that you have to press down. They'll have it shaded in black with the note matching it above it, whatever may be the case. I'm not going to do that for this, only because this is so at the beginning stage that I know that you're going to get it. And whatever you do not get, you have the option of going back to pretty much hear this all over again. Okay, so here is the note F, and I'm going to play it for you. Now, for the sake of this lesson, I'm not going to isolate the F like I did the G, because we're doing 5 notes today. All right. So if I isolated every note that I'm going to show you within this 5-note system, this lesson is going to seem like it's going to take half past forever. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to combine the G and the F. Okay. So if you take a look at number 2, here it is. As you can see, you have the G whole note in the first measure. Then you have the F note in the second measure, followed by a whole rest. Then I repeat the same thing again with the G and the F and another whole rest. Then I isolate just one at a time. So we have the G, then followed by a rest, then the F, followed by another whole rest, another G, whole note, followed by another whole rest, and another F, followed by a whole rest to end that particular exercise. Now, the reason why I did it like that is because the best way to really play these notes, I always tell my students to, when you're playing, like say for like an F or any note that you have to play where you actually have to hold the valve down, I always tell them to not take the trumpet out of your mouth. All right. To kind of keep everything just locked in. All right. And don't move. Because if you take the mouthpiece off, you actually have to put it right back on. Unfortunately, in this beginning stage, your muscles not developed to automatically just lock right in on the note. So what you have to do, or to prevent you missing that note, I always say just keep the mouthpiece attached to your embouchure, and just use that 4 bars, the 4 beats rest of the whole rest to get you ready for the next note. All right. Sometimes when you play the G and the F, or just 2 notes together, you end up cracking, especially in the beginning stages. I'm just giving you an example. So sometimes people play like this. You heard that? All right. Now, that little crack that you hear in between those notes happens because it's not developed yet. It's not strong enough to be able to play it clean. Okay. So in time, as you do long tones, as you do more technical studies, mainly preferred slow, you'll be able to clear that inner cracking sound out. All right, so let's get your trumpet, okay? And let's now play exercise number 2. Here we go. All right, I hope you enjoyed that. Always remember that you can repeat each segment by clicking on the labeled timestamp below this video in the description box, okay? Now let's move on. We still have 3 more notes to go, and our 3rd note is called a low E, okay? So this E is the lowest E on the trumpet. That's why I call it low E, okay? So here's a picture of me showing you the fingering. All right, as you can see, I have the first and the second valve pressed down only. Here is how the low E sounds. Okay, So if you take a look at number 3 now, we have our first note, G, followed by whole note F in the second measure, followed by the E in the third measure, all in whole notes, followed by a whole rest. Then we go to E, then F, then G again, followed by another measure of a whole rest. Then on the bottom there, you have G, followed by a whole rest. Then you have F, followed by a whole rest. Then you have an E, followed by a whole rest. Then you're going to play the E again, followed by the whole rest, and F, followed by a whole rest, then G, followed by a whole rest, ending that exercise. Okay, so grab your trumpet again, and let's play this exercise. Here we go. All right, I hope you enjoyed that. Okay, remember, you can always repeat that segment by clicking on the label timestamp underneath this video in the description box. All right, so let's move on because we have some more work to do. All right, we have 2 more notes to go. All right, don't wear out on me just yet. All right, the next note is called a low D. Why is it called a low D? Because that is the lowest D that you can play on the trumpet. Okay, so the low D, the fingering is the first and the third valve, as you see in this picture here. Okay, and now I'm going to play the D for you. Here we go. All right, so now let's go to exercise number 4 and let's keep it going. Here we go. All right, we have 1 more note to go. Okay, and that note is a low C. Okay, so here is the fingering of a low C. As you can see, I am not pressing any valves. All right, that means because the low C is an open note on the trumpet. All right, so let's take a look at exercise number 5. And that exercise is saying what? G in the first measure, F in the second measure, E in the third measure, D in the fourth measure, C in the fifth measure, followed by a whole rest. Then we're going to ascend from C up to the D, up to the E, up to the F, up to the G with another whole rest. Then we're going to break it down again in the second line there, a G with a whole rest, F, whole rest, E, whole rest, D, whole rest, C, whole rest, again, C, whole rest, up to the D, whole rest, E, whole rest, F, whole rest, G, whole rest, ending that exercise. So if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's do it. Here we go. All right, I hope you enjoyed that. Congratulations. Technically, we are actually done. All right, but guess what? I actually have one more exercise for you just to kind of help push you just a little bit harder, okay? But before we get into that, I just want to say if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, all right? If you like what I have going on here, feel free to subscribe to my channel here because I do have more videos coming for you very, very soon. Okay, if you are a teacher, please, share this video with your students. If you are a student, share this video with your teacher. Let him or her see what else is going on there to kind of help you get better. All right. We are here to just have some fun, make some music, and welcome to the world of trumpet. All right. So if we take a look at our last exercise, this is kind of like a burner. Okay. This is exercise number 6. All right. Take a look at that second line. That second line, it's a lot of notes. All right. Now, I'm not going to get into it because I'm pretty sure you already know what's going on right now. But of course, take a look at it. All right. So I want to say before we play, I just want to say it was definitely a pleasure teaching you. And I hope you learned something from me today. And I hope to see you again. Feel free to leave a comment below to let me know if this has helped you. Also, I would like to say shout out to all of the other professional trumpeters on YouTube who are giving online lessons to our potential trumpeters of the future. And I just want to say, hey, keep coming with the content. So anyway, let's get into exercise number 6. I'm going to say you all have a great day, and see you again soon. All right. Y'all take care. Peace.